How to remove negative energies using a power washer. Now this one's near and dear to me because it actually saved my life today. Hello, I'm Fractal Future and welcome to the Vanguard of Light. Here we're taking personal development but making it energy centric. So we take cutting edge personal development but we expand it into the spiritual realm, into the energetic realm, because the energetic realm is where it's all happening, feeding into the physical world. So you can do stuff in the physical world, you can make changes, but it's always like an uphill struggle. You're always pushing, especially when there's energetic cores and roots pulling you back down. But when you take personal development, but then look deeper into the energetics behind it, now things soar. So that's what we're all about, Vanguard of Light. If you're here because you feel energy, then you might be part of the Vanguard of Light, and I think you are. So let's jump into this. So you might be thinking, how is a power washer going to help me clear something energetically? Well, if we put three components. First of all, I recommend using a power washer on a car, vehicle, your vehicle, essentially. So you can go one of those car wash places, put a couple coins in, swipe your credit card, and now using a power washer. Why to do this? First, you've got pressurized water that then is expanding and releasing. So that's just an act. You already have a physical act. You know, water is very programmable, and now it's pressurized, and now it's expanding and releasing, like you would do spiritually, expanding and releasing. So you got a physical process that's happening that you can then energetically piggyback on. So your vehicle, that in feng shui is considered your spiritual vehicle. So now you've got energy, or you got water expanding and releasing. You're doing energetic, your spiritual vehicle, as in your car, your truck. And now we're going in a process of removing stuff that it's picked up along the way. You know, all this dirt, all the stuff that's on your car, your truck, that you're power washing it away, didn't come with the car. It wasn't part of the car. So it's another metaphor of like, we're clearing off this negative energies that they weren't a part of us. They're not part of our spirit. It's just something that this 3D world, in this experience, we've picked up onto us. So we can use these three metaphors to really amp up our spiritual change, our removal of these energies, because it's physical processes that are happening, but it also parallels what we want to do in the energetic world, in the spiritual world. So how does that work? Okay, so it's a very simple process. It's got 3 steps to it, and I'll let you know how today I did this process and it literally saved my life. No joke. Okay, so step 1, you want to figure out what spiritually you want to let go of. Like what's no longer serving you? What do you want to work on? Like when you're cleaning your truck or your car, okay, what am I going to be letting go? So you have that in your mind of like, I'm going to be letting this go. I want to work on this. I want to work on this dynamic, this relationship. Like this is something that like spiritually I want to be working on, right? So that's your step 1. Then step 2, you're going to then announce that, and affirm that I'm releasing any of my agreements to having this negative energy. Because there might be unconscious or conscious agreements where you said, okay, I accept this, or somehow you made an agreement of like, this is okay, or had thoughts about it and then kind of cycled on them and kind of adopted them as yours. And this is where you're constantly saying, you don't have to know what they are. You're saying like, anything that's related to this, any negative energies that's related to this thing that I want to work on, I no longer have any agreements to keeping it. It's fair game now. I'm releasing any agreement to holding on to this energy. And then your third one is also use this time to say, hey, any way in which I am not on my path that source is laid out for me, any way where I'm deviating off my path, I wish to have that corrected so I can get back on the path that I'm supposed to be on, that source is laid out for me. Because there's a chance that this limitation that you want to let go of spiritually is actually preventing you from moving further down a path that you don't want to be on. Now, it also prevents you from moving down the path if you were on the right path. But in case it's the wrong path, source, the clearing, wouldn't want to remove that because it actually make things worse. So you're saying, hey, I'm choosing to get put back on the right path. So that also then becomes part of the clearing. So then you just jump into starting to wash your vehicle. And you see the dirt coming off and you just think like, okay, that's that negative energy coming off. And also you see the dirt and you're like, the dirt's not holding on. There's no agreement for that dirt to stay. I have no agreement for that negative energy to stay. And then finally you're like, okay, I'm cleaning this spiritual vehicle, but I'm also requesting that my course get updated to make sure I'm on track with Source. Like I'm going where Source is laid out the best path for me. So you just do those 3 steps. Obviously your car gets clean, your truck gets clean, but actually spiritually you start letting go of a lot of stuff, way more than you would possibly expect. Today I did that and it felt like, wow, something is really, really, really strong happening. Something is really intense. I was like, whoa, this is kind of really amped up. Later that day, my brakes failed. But how they failed. I mean, that could have been a major disaster. But what happened was, I'm living in the mountains. I normally go off-grid, go far into the woods and stuff like that. I was just starting. I'm out of cell range, about to go on a dirt road, right? And I'm slowing down. Normally there's a gate, but they just recently opened it up. So I'm slowing down. And I was going to stop. For some reason, it's like, okay, let's just stop here before I get there. And I was kind of slowing down, stopping, and then but something wasn't right. I wasn't queued up on it, but then I put the emergency brake on, like to fully stop, like I was parking. And then all of a sudden I noticed, I was like, hey, wait a second, my foot, like, when you hit the brake, it stops. But my foot was going all the way to the floor. And I'm like, oh crap, my brakes are busted? Wait, what? And I'm like, pushing, I'm like, okay, that's messed up. So I start playing with it, but I'm like, okay, the emergency brake's working. So I'm thinking like, okay, possibly hydraulic fluid. Like there's a brake, because it kind of worked, kind of didn't. Well, luckily, I was out of cell, so it wasn't like I was calling AAA then. I was like, okay, it's not too bad to get back to the first gas station, because I'm in the middle of nowhere. But I'm like, okay, it's not too steep. It feels like I got some brake pressure, and I've got the emergency brake. So I was able to go back, use the gears, get to the gas station, and I'm like, okay, it looks like there's a brake leak. I'm not too far from home, so I'm thinking like, maybe I can get some, brake oil or brake fluid and like just make it. Unfortunately, I didn't have brake fluid, but anyway, I was like, okay, I'm not far. My emergency brake's working. I do have a little bit of brake power. So I was able to get home. Tomorrow I'll call AAA. Everything will be sorted. But that could have been a nightmare. I have an RV. I could have been towing the RV. I could have been towing the RV in the mountains. And that emergency brake's not going to stop me, because it could barely stop me with nothing on there. I'm going slow, knowing they're like, okay, I'm probably going to have to use the emergency brake here. So that could have been or I could have been in the city. I could have been in traffic. Anything to where it popped. But it did it in the most safe possible way it could happen. And I know it's related to that clearing. To where I'm getting back on path. Like I was either deviated from path, I was letting go of something, like my truck was ready to go, was ready to brake. But it was allowed to brake in a way that essentially saved my life. It also didn't cause any type of issue. It may even cause me a delay. So that's just an example of it is super, super powerful. Please try it out. Let's do a quick recap. So you're going to get a power wash. Go to a wash place, right? You're going to have an intention of what do you want to clear? What spiritually do you want to let go of? Then you're going to let go of any agreement to maintain or hold these negative energies. You're like, I do not agree to have these. Whatever they are, they can go. And then the third is, I'm going to get back aligned with Source. However way I might be off the path, at this process, this energetic clearing, come in and also get me back aligned. So those are your 3 steps. If you want to take things deeper, because you can stay here, subscribe, like the video, please. And you'll be able to get great content. Like we'll have awesome tips like this, awesome techniques like that. But if you want to go deeper and actually sequence a bunch of these together in a way in which you need to be done in a course versus, videos that you watch, like, hey, let me get some enlightenment. Let me get some release, which is great. Definitely come here, do that, get inspired, stay in the game. But if you want to go deeper, check out some of our courses in the description below. If they're not there yet, then they're either in beta. But when they're out of beta, we'll be releasing them, or we'll be also offering them free at times if they're in beta. So check out the description. And until we talk again, have a blessed day or a blessed night.